back to another episode of Hong Dynasty.
We're.
Deborah, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Obviously, I'm not doing so great. If you just noticed, I had to turn like this. If you're wondering why my neck is hurting, watch this video.
So we were walking around the neighborhood and Jimmy spotted a neighbor of ours having a yard sale. And he went to the yard sale and he saw a slip and slide for sale, like literally a third of the price. And it was like
Normally $50, we got it for $25, so half the price.
half the price. And so we were so excited because Jonathan is getting to the age where he really likes adventure and discovery and fun things like that. And so we got him that slip and slide and we tried it out for the first time yesterday. And so Jimmy was trying to slide and he was trying to get one of those slides that you see on the commercials, and he did not achieve that. Instead, he thinks he hurt his shoulder again, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right. So Jimmy, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about something really important, and it's about how to love somebody else. It's easy for us to love ourselves. Like, I have no problem loving myself. I love myself. And I love to show myself I love myself by using one of my love languages, which we're going to talk about right now, right here. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet, hit subscribe, like this, and share this with all your friends, because you never know who might need to hear this.
Exactly. And go ahead and binge watch all the rest of Hong Dynasty, because we're hoping that maybe some of our lessons we learned the hard way, you can learn the easy way. My mom always said you can either learn in the classroom or you can learn out in the field. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather learn in the classroom, learn the easy way so you don't actually have to go through some drama and difficulties by learning the hard way.
Exactly. But some of us are thick-headed and we only learn the hard way. So we're going to talk today about the 5 love languages. It's a book written by Gary Chapman. So if you haven't read it yet, make sure you check it out. Also, if you go to Google and type in 5 love languages, you can take a little quick quiz and it'll let you know what your love language is.
Yeah. And the 5 I'm going to name, hopefully if I miss any, Jimmy, you can just fill in the blank, but I believe is physical affection, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, quality time.
Your love language.
What's the 5th?
Acts of service.
Acts of service. That one is not really high on my list. But if you kind of get the gist, every one of us, we like to be loved a certain way. And it's just the way we're wired. Maybe it's our personality. Maybe it's just what we like, And there are certain things we can do to love others well. And we want to talk about kind of our love languages and how different we are and how we're able to do that.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is it's easy for us to love other people the way we like to be loved, and that's where a lot of problems come in.
That is true. There's so many people, they get offended with their spouse or their dating relationship partner because they don't do what they want them to do, you know, and or they'll love them the way they want to be loved, but it's not the way they want to be loved.
Exactly. Yep. So just to let you know, my love language is gifts. So if you want to show me love, I love gifts.
So it's actually a really funny story. This just popped in my head. Our first baby shower, like usually guys don't go to a baby shower, but with our first baby shower, we had a lot of people and we just thought it would be really special if Jimmy were there, and he was like,
they needed
yes.
me. They needed me to move all the gifts.
Yes. And people loved us so well, showered us with so many gifts. That's why it's called a baby shower. It was like a downpour. And that was like his dream come true because he was opening gifts for probably a solid hour. And it was just his dream come true.
Unfortunately, they weren't gifts for me, but I live vicariously through my son. So actually, my son is half of me. So, and if you don't know what he looks like this.
So my love language is not gifts. Gifts is actually the lowest one on my list. And not that I don't like them, but it's just not what makes me feel like all loved and warm and fuzzy. Words, no. Quality time
touch?
and physical touch. So you said quality touch. So they're like neck and neck, quality time and physical touch. So, Jimmy.
And, whoa. And touch is on the bottom of my list.
It's not even on his list.
Yeah. And quality time is like on the bottom of my list as well.
Yeah, and what's so funny is Jimmy is probably the biggest touch me not I've ever met in my life. Like, it's the way he's raised. He wasn't, always touching, hugging, it's just also how he's wired. Like, that's just not important to him. But to me, it's like, not to everybody, but like to my close family and Jimmy. I don't know why I said James. Like, touching is like important.
I feel my energy levels going down.
And so I know that, me giving Jimmy a hug is not loving him the way he needs to be loved well. Like, and him giving me a gift, yes, it's a sweet gesture, but that's not really gonna fill what, we've heard many times, many people have used this, but fill someone's love tanks. If you imagine you have these tanks inside of your soul and they have to be filled with that love. And if you're not getting that, that's why so many people struggle with depression. They struggle with even being like passive aggressively angry with their partner because their needs aren't being met, and they don't want to say it because then, quote unquote, it won't be meant or real. You know what I mean? Yeah. I felt like that sometimes with Jimmy. Like, if I told him, yeah, sometimes, but I feel like we have definitely evolved.
Yeah.
And I just want to say a quick disclaimer. Just because like we want to share some of our things that we've learned the hard way doesn't mean we're not still learning how to be healthy, how to thrive, how to love each other well. That's going to be for the rest of our lives. So, I just want to go ahead and say that me and Jimmy are not perfect and we don't have everything all figured out. Yeah, he thinks he is. He thinks he looks good and he's a model and that he's just perfect in every way.
I'm sorry, did I not model? I'm just kidding.
You would not have if it weren't for me encouraging you.
True that.
Okay.
So anyway.
The point is.
So when Deborah's love tanks start to go a little empty because I haven't given her that quality touch or that physical time.
Quality touch.
Or
physical time.
Physical touch and quality time that she needs to feel love.
Physical time.
She will tell me that I have to hug her for 10 minutes. So
10 minutes?
Yeah, you say
that's
that.
way long.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
You can never last 10 minutes. I'm surprised when he lasts 10 seconds just hugging
So anyway,
me.
she tells me, she says,
yeah,
hey,
I need a hug.
She says, hey, you have to hug me and you have to hug me for at least 60 seconds. So me, because I love my wife and because I want her to know that I love her and I know that that's how she needs to be loved, I put my own to the side. I'm just kidding. I love hugging my wife. But I put my own, my own instant thoughts and selfishness to the side. And I hug my wife because obviously she's communicating to me that she needs a hug.
But I also want to say I don't do that like every hour, everything, or every day.
I hug my wife.
He'll give me a hug goodbye and things like that. But sometimes, especially those of you who one of your love languages is, physical touch, then you kind of know. Sometimes you just need a little extra. You need a little hug. You need to be reminded, that sort of thing. And so I know that his capacity is so low for physical touch that
I scored a 0.
He scored a 0.
For
our son is just like him. That's how I know it's just in him, and that's how God made him. And I can't be mad at him for like that. He doesn't like that. He literally despises it. So I don't
despise it. I've grown and matured.
He's grown and matured, but there's so many other people out there that you feel the same way he does. You don't love physical touch like that, and maybe your partner is like drowning you with their neediness. And some of you out there who might be the more needy ones, like me, we have to learn how to balance that and say, you know what? In order for me to love him well, I have to like.
It's all about compromise.
It's all about compromise and know I can't always get what I want either. Like, I know it might seem crazy to some of you who this doesn't sound like anything that you and your partner deal with, but others out there, this makes total sense for you. And you have to balance how much neediness you're requiring physically from your partner, especially if their capacity is zero. So I know when he gives me a 10-second hug, he is loving me like very well, and it's worth 3 times more than in someone else doing that because it doesn't cost them anything, but I know it costs him something. And so I allow that to be a part of what I think when I'm receiving that. Yeah. But in the same way, I also get my needs met through quality time, since that's, my second highest. So just spending time with him, being around him, having conversations, doing these vlogs, or, whatever, maybe going for a walk when he didn't want to go for a walk.
I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
It was hot. And so, but the point is, there are other ways, so some of you with physical touch, and maybe you're with a partner that's like their lowest, just like, in our situation, find other ways to get your needs met. Maybe God needs to meet your needs a little bit more, but also no human will 100% satisfy you, because there always will be that part of you that can only be filled by God anyway, Yep. And so talking about gifts.
Well, let's explain my.
Yeah.
So I have a tradition. It's a Hong tradition. I started it, where every major holiday, well, not major, every holiday, every like important day, I buy myself a gift, because, like I said, that's my top love language, is to buy myself gifts. So every Christmas, my birthday, New Year's, Memorial Day, Independence Day, her birthday, Jonathan's birthday, I buy myself a gift. So with that little backstory in mind, Deborah.
So I noticed that whenever we were dating, that gifts were, something that were very important to him, and it's a part of like loving him well. And so I knew that he had never really had a Christmas kind of like my family celebrates, where we buy each other like a bunch of gifts and things like that. And so I was like, you know what? I want to do something special for him. And I want to do the 12 days of Christmas, but buy him a different gift for each day. Well, I was in college and I didn't have a job and I was broke. So not all these gifts were, very expensive gifts.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah. And it's the opening up and experiencing them, and him knowing that like I wanted to love him well.
And the things you got, like the gummy worms, I love gummy worms, or, you bought stuff for my first dog, Panda Bear, that my sister took from me. Her story might be a little bit different, but
he left overseas, so it was her dog.
Yeah, she pretty much raised her. But yeah, it wasn't nice, expensive gifts. They were very thoughtful things that had sentimental value behind it.
Yeah, and so you might need to get creative, especially if someone that you want to love well, their favorite things, their love language are, gifts, and you don't have all the money in the world. Get creative, maybe even make a gift, things like that. But at the same time, his second highest is words of affirmation. So yeah, I can't go buy him a gift every day, especially his expensive taste. And so what I do is I try to, pull on his other love language to show, that I want to love him well. Try to encourage him. Try to remind him how much I appreciate him and things like that. And sometimes, y'all, if you're with somebody that their love language is words of affirmation, you have to actually affirm them with your words. You have to actually... It can be in your head all day, and that's beautiful, but if it doesn't come out of your mouth, it doesn't actually fill their love tank, and it doesn't actually affirm them. And that's really hard when our lives are so busy, or when it's like, oh, I didn't have a chance to tell them. Maybe the thought pops in your head, but you're making dinner and you have kids, or you're running around or whatever. Just take the time, try. It is not always easy, but we just want to try to love each other well.
And it's important because, even though it costs energy or it costs time, I love you. So I'm going to invest that time. I'm going to invest that energy into making you feel loved. If you're too lazy and you don't want to do that, then you're just going to have problems,
Exactly.
The biggest things is you've got to be willing to invest that time and that energy into letting that person know you love them, because you get love, you receive love differently than I do. Matter of fact, you receive it in a way that I don't even think about. But it's important that, you do that, because that lets them know, hey, they really love me, that they are sacrificing their own desires or what they want in that moment. Some days I get home, I'm dog tired, and I know that she wants that quality time, or she wants that physical touch. So I told myself, hey, I love her, and I want her to know that I love her. So
yeah, and connection's important for anybody, regardless of your love language, because I feel like we're in such a digital world right now, and sometimes our brains and the way that we process things now with technology, I feel like when we have busy days or we're drained in some capacity and we come home, we just want to veg out on our phones, and we just want to put headphones in and just do this for the rest of the night and not actually talk to the person right beside us, and that's something that we have to like fight for and be intentional about a lot of times, because we're both on the go. We go home, we're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But we 9 times out of 10 try to make the time to really connect. How was your day? What did you do today? Oh, let me tell you what happened. This was so funny. Or, have those connections. And so I encourage you, if you feel the same way, like you're just going and you come home and you just want to be on your phone, try to put it down, try to connect, try to see how the other person's day went. Try to have those connections, because it'll make it stronger.
Exactly. So again, make sure you check out that book, 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Take his test, find out how you like to be loved. That way you'll know, you can share it with your partner or your spouse, how to love you, and also you'll realize why the things you've been doing for her don't matter. Like, for example, since I like to receive gifts, I like to buy her gifts, but her reactions aren't the same as my reactions. Like if you buy me a gift, especially something I've really been wanting, I'm like, oh my god, yeah, you really love me, oh my god. Whereas her, she's, I can't believe you spent the money on this.
I feel so guilty.
So make sure you take the test, find out how you like to be loved. That way you can love your partner better. Also, that being said, if you're watching this, today is Memorial Day. Today's a day where we remember those who have paid the ultimate price for the freedoms that we have here in America, the freedom to voice our opinions, the freedom to, not worry about someone knocking on your door to throw you in a secret jail because you spoke against somebody, the freedoms to, come together, to bear arms, all the freedoms that we have. So we just want to take this moment. Let the families who've lost someone, to protect these freedoms, let them know that we remember them and we thank them. And we also thank you for keep pushing on and continuing their legacy. And me personally, I want to share a couple of brothers that I've served with that didn't make it home or made it home and never really came home. So here they are. This is Lance Corporal Nigel Olson. This is Lance Corporal Aragon. This is Lance Corporal Jeremy Kane. This is Corporal Joshua Blankenship. This is Lance Corporal Anestis. These are some guys that I knew personally. So thanks for your sacrifice.
Thank you guys, and thank you for watching.
Peace.